Hi, this is Robert, and I'm coming to you with another auto care tip. And the reason I'm bringing you these tips is because I've had cars that have lasted over 400,000 miles. Most cars today are made to last at least 200,000, and some of your better cars can last you 4, 5, 6, 700,000 miles without any real major need for repairs. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about safety tips. Now, when I talk about safety tips, I'm not talking about the tips of driving, per se, car safety as far as air pressure, things like that. I'm actually talking about driving safety. Some of us take chances when we drive, and it's just not worth it. Most of this video will probably apply to your younger, inexperienced driver. Welcome them to watch this video. And some of us that have been driving for several years, 20, 30 years, have maybe got laxed on some of these tips. So anyway, let me get started. My number one tip is never take chances that can result in an accident. I see it all the time. Just the other night, I drove 12 miles. 6 miles to my destination, 6 miles back. In those 12 miles, I had 5 near-miss accidents. 3 of them, the person wasn't even looking. They had their head down or in their phone. 1 of them, the person was maybe taking a chance. And the other one, I couldn't see a car in my blind spot. So with these near misses happening all the time, all day long, taking chances is just not worth it. Let me tell you, if you're driving 20-minute drive somewhere and you want to try to beat a car through an intersection or drive around a car that's driving slow, in that 20-minute drive, you might gain 15 seconds or 30 seconds in that short trip. It is not worth being stuck on the side of the road dealing with an accident report for an hour or 2 waiting for police and then dealing with the hassle of getting your car fixed. So my number one tip is, please don't take chances. My number 2 tip comes from a disturbing moment that I had recently with trying to help someone else. And I guess this one is kind of related to road rage. And that is, when you see a car that's incapacitated or broke down on the side of the road, try your best to give them due space. I was driving down a very busy street. It's called Markham here. 4-lane, usually bumper-to-bumper traffic, especially in rush hour type situations. There was a lady's car that had simply stalled in the fast lane. While her car was stalled, people was coming speedily up to the back of her car, even though she had her flashers on. They was charging the car, changing lanes at the last second, blowing their horn. Let me tell you something, people. That is just inhumane and totally unnecessary. When you see a car broke down on the side of the road, the person may not have the ability to move it out of the road. It may take 20, 30 minutes for a tow truck to get there. Charging the car, being mean and nasty is just not worth it. And you making those abrupt moves and slamming on your brakes and stuff like that, it's just not worth it. I had another situation where I seen a car broke down in the road. I actually stopped, pulled my car off the road, and I got one of those emergency triangles with the reflectors. This was broad daylight, maybe 10 in the morning. I walked about 20 paces down, set up the cone or the hazard triangle in the road. I promise you, nothing was left of that triangle, just about 3 car lengths behind the car. Almost 9 out of 10 people that seen the car broke down in the road, seen my triangle, instead of changing lanes, they drove over my triangle going under their car. And actually, in about the 10 minutes I was there, 4 people actually ran the triangle over. My triangle was no more good. It's just, if you see somebody broke down on the road, give them as much space as you can, go around them. It's just the humane thing to do. Now, another thing I would like to encourage people to do, and I'm speaking to myself here, is avoid road rage. You know, road rage is normally happens between two people that have no idea of what condition the other person was in. Now, I've had tragedy in my life, and I've come to believe that people are more fragile than they know. And most of us are one or two tragedies away from being the craziest person we know. Someone that you may encounter a road rage with may have just experienced a tragedy. They may be in some kind of hurry. They may be tailgating you. What I normally do when someone's tailgating me, I'll turn on my hazard lights, let them flash a few seconds, and if for some reason that doesn't encourage them to back up, I will do what I can to pull over and let them go by. It's just not worth it. You know, I've heard of people getting into violent incidents with road rage. So avoid road rage. It's not worth it. Another tip, I guess this is number 4 maybe, is yielding to oncoming traffic. If you're driving down the highway and you know there's an on-ramp that cars will be merging onto the highway with you or onto a road that you're on, and you have the ability to move over to the left lane so that cars can come in, do so. It's just another way to avoid an accident. Sometimes your car may be in someone's blind spot and they may run you off the road or come into near-miss situations that often result in road rage. So do what you can to yield to oncoming traffic and merging traffic. Another safety tip I would give is to make sure that you do have the proper tire pressure in your tires. If your car doesn't have the proper tire pressure, it can cause the tires to heat up. It can reduce your ability to corner well and to go through especially unfamiliar turns well. It affects your braking, and if you get a flat because you don't have the right tire pressure in your car, you can have a blowout and result in an accident. So check your tire pressure at least once a month. A few things you should check once a month is your oil, your tire pressure, and your coolant level. Make sure you check those things once a month. Another safety item I would like to give to you is, especially if you've recently purchased a car, is to make sure you have a spare tire. Make sure that spare tire has air, something you might want to check monthly, and make sure you have all of the tools that you need to change a tire. One of the things that I do as a community service, I would say, is if I'm driving down the road and I see a car pulled off to the side of the road and I can clearly see that that person has a flat tire, I can change a flat tire in 5 minutes. I got towels and gloves and everything I need to do the job quickly and clean myself up afterwards. It's sad to say that half of the time I pull over to help someone change a tire, they don't have a spare, their jack is inadequate, they can't get their lug nuts off. People, make sure you have a spare tire. Make sure you have a jack, the tools to take the tire off. And one extra tip on that very few people do. Whenever I purchase a car, I make sure that I can get every one of those lug nuts loose. Sad to say, some places that install tires will actually put the tires on with a wheel, with an impact wrench, maybe not put the proper lubrication on the bolts and the wheel. Anytime you install a wheel, you should have what's called anti-seize on the threads of the bolt and on the head of the bolt so those bolts don't get stuck on. So get you some anti-seize, put it where your tire change stuff is, a little tube of it about, an ounce or two will go for several tire changes and cost maybe $3. So make sure that you have a spare and you can get the tires off. Other than that, my last and final tip is the one that everybody's calling foul on, and that is distractive driving. It's just not worth fiddling around with your phone, your radio, your makeup, your lunch, all these things while you're trying to drive, especially on congested roads. Now, if you're on the highway and there's not a car within 200 yards of you, do what you want. You can run off the road into a tree or into the woods or whatever and not really affect anybody else in that accident other than the people that may miss you if you have a fatal accident. But in general, you're driving around town, please pay attention to the road. Put those phones down. It will not kill you to leave that phone alone for 10 minutes. If there's an emergency, I tell this to even my daughter. If I'm driving down the road and she has an emergency and she needs to get in touch with someone to take care of that emergency, guess what? I'm several miles away from her and I am not an emergency response team. If she has an emergency, she needs to dial 911, not me. And I promise you, there's very little that you're going to do to deal with an actual emergency while you're driving. So put your phone aside, get off of that distracted driving, and man, it's almost impossible to text and drive with these new high-tech touchscreen phones. So don't even go there. Thank you very much for listening to the video.